tell me about yourself. Let me summarize. It's the starting point for a conversation. That's why you want to start with something very general, like the answer that I recommended. Basically, you're covering your resume in like a minute or less. It's a very general question. So anybody who advises you to give a very specific answer to it is incorrect. Okay? That's an impossible thing to do. Because if someone is asking a very specific question, but instead they say a very general question, how are you to figure that out unless you're a mind reader? People aren't mind readers. It's unreasonable for someone to ask this question and then claim they wanted a very specific answer. That's asinine. Okay? In which case, you couldn't win with them anyway. Okay? Because if they think that's logical and that's doable, they got another thing coming. Also, the recruiter is your adversary a lot of the time. They're not your friend. They're not rooting for you. So the problem is that if you truly gave them every little thing that they're looking for, it would be bad for you. The people that would win at that game are the ones that are able to withhold negative aspects of themselves when prompted. And then the argument that, well, they already have your resume. It's like, yes, that's true. They do. They do already have your resume. However, in more than 50% of cases, when you have a job interview, whether it's virtual or in person, that recruiter, although they should be familiar with your resume, they are not, because they haven't done their homework and reread your resume right before the interview. So they're refamiliarized with who you are. So the problem is they're going into a lot of these interviews blind. They don't remember who you were. They know they had called you back for an interview, but they don't remember anything about you until you actually get there. And then when they ask a question like, tell me about yourself, it's actually good that you give them a little refresher. This is who I am. This education, this experience, these skills, right? That's our starting point. Okay? So to sum up, here's my recommended answer. They say, tell me about yourself. You say a phrase. The phrase is, well, as you can see from my resume, and then that's an optional thing to start with. It's more a memory jog for you, but you can say it appropriately as long as you don't say it in a really arrogant way. You just say, well, as you can see from my resume, and then you summarize your resume in 45 seconds, starting with your education, starting with your earliest experiences, and then coming up chronologically to your latest experience, okay? And then you end with another phrase, and that phrase is, and that's what brings me here today, and why I'm excited to learn more about this opportunity. Okay, so that's my recommended answer. Right, now let's change the topics. I'm going to open it up to questions. So all you fine people that have questions about everything under the sun to do with job search, careers, interviews, resumes, where to find jobs, where to discover them, more higher level stuff like getting a job through direct outreach or informational interviews or networking, anything like that, events, anything like that. It's all free for all. Let me know what you're wondering about.